happening, everybody? Welcome to Tech Talk. Another week, another conversation about some awesomeness when it comes to technology. I'm Ryan Bowman, joined with Brian East, the dynamic duo over here from a data standpoint at Connect Us, bringing to you some conversations and some discussions about technology and cellular industry and routers and all that kind of good stuff. So today, let's talk about power. Who has the power? That's the question. We've got the power. That's the answer. So we're going to talk about power. We're going to talk about power over Ethernet. We're going to talk about routers, cellular, APs, all sorts of stuff when it comes to that. And so let's get started with I've got the power. All I can think about is that dang song every time I say that. So
I think of He-Man.
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking He-Man as well, but the song really.
He says, "I have the power." He doesn't say, "I've got the power." There's no.
Isn't it like the power of Grayskull or something?
Yep.
Is that what it is?
The power of Grayskull.
By the power of Grayskull. Yeah, I never understood. I was not a huge He-Man fan, I have to say. Sorry.
Oh, dude, the new reboot of that got some bad reviews. I loved it.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. I have not watched it, so I'll take your word for it. I'm still over in the Star Wars arena with Mandalorian and stuff. So, all right. So, and that's they've got some power too. All right. So let's talk about, you know what, as we talk about 80s references and such, you know, I had to add some type of meme in there about power. So yeah, that's right. I've got the power. So, all right. So let's talk about typical deployments, activations, typical office situations, right? We got a router, access point, and in the world we all live in, a normal world, probably around your house, around your business, around your use place, you have power outlets, right? We have a pretty solid electrical grid in the United States, so we typically have electric outlets pretty close to us that we can just plug in anything we want, right? So that's a typical situation for most of our customers. Not a whole lot to say about that, right? So what happens though when we take that typical situation and we're doing some type of deployment where we are taking an access point, a switch, could be a router, but a lot of times it's an extension of Ethernet, and we're putting it in a place like a ceiling that we don't have power, right? That happens somewhat often, right? So now we have an access point in the ceiling and there's no power outlet drop, right? They're a switch because we're going to be expanding to more access points, or we're going to take a switch and we're going to put routers down in an office or whatnot. And we're just extending part of the network, and we have zero ability to plug it into an outlet without a whole lot of, calling an electrician and all that good stuff. So we look pretty confused like this guy, like, oh no, what do we do? So what do we do? What's that?
What do we do?
What do we do? Like, Scooby-Doo, where are you? So when we have situations like this, don't despair. We have an answer for you. No, but it is important because out there in the IT tech world, again, if you're not aware, this is a common issue that happens, right? And we see some of these components and some of this functionality, and you'll hear the term PoE, right? And that stands for power over Ethernet, right? So what we need to understand when it comes to power over Ethernet, though, is there are certain requirements, because that power is one of two ways. We need either the ability for a device to power another device, or we need a device that has the ability to accept the power over Ethernet. So when we talk about what this setup looks like, we still are, router, AP, switch, whatever that happens to be. And now what we're actually going to do is we don't have an AC cable. We don't have an AC power cord. We are going to literally power that off of another component on the network. So a good way to think about this is, in some cases, so I'm going to use Cradlepoint, for example. In the Cradlepoint W2005 that's hanging on the outside wall in our office in King of Prussia, or not in our office, but outside of our office in the building. We have that being powered today. There's no AC outlet in that. If you walked out and you could look up really well, like 30 feet in the air, you would see it's got 2 Cat 5 cables or Cat 6 cables in it. That's it. And it's getting its power through that cable, through one of those cables. So, so what happens is we get really happy because we now solved the problem. And so we also changed guys too, right? So that was kind of cool. It's a new guy. He's pretty happy. We called him in. You know, he's got
The happy one has a beard.
I was gonna say there's something to be said about that. You know, as I'm hearing everyone nickname us the bearded duo. So you know, but beards are pretty cool. So just saying, as a guy with a beard, it's pretty nifty. So let's talk about some of the specifics about this, right? I had to bring Bearded Awesome Guy back in again. And here are 2 examples of what a power over Ethernet injector might look like, right? So in some cases, the one on the bottom there is a good example where it is getting power. On the back end there, it would be plugged into a power outlet possibly, and it would inject that power through Ethernet. And that's the case like the 2005 I mentioned. In other cases, when a adapter or a router can actually power another device, we'll just use straight Ethernet like that image I had on the last slide. So that's one option. The option up top is an alternative option as well. So when we have a device that doesn't have the ability to be powered by the actual Ethernet connection, right? What we can do sometimes is you can see there's a little power outlet there, right? And so what happens is we're bringing power into that box, and it has an additional power adapter because that's going to be needed. And when I say power adapter, I mean like literally that cylinder adapter there that will actually connect into what you're trying to power up. So it's an alternative way to do that. You're still powering everything over Ethernet because at the end of the day, no one has the ability to plug in, but you're just using a different interface to do it there with that additional power outlet. So anything I missed here, Brian, that you would like to add? Because I know you have way more networking experience and install experience than I do. So I'm looking at it from the very simple, here we are, pretty easy going.
Absolutely. No, you hit most all of it. The only thing I could add would be that different devices that can accept PoE have different power requirements. And on some of your more advanced switches, you'll have a bank of PoE ports. And most of them nowadays, you can tweak the power output of each port. So you can better match how much power is going to a specific device. If it's not enough, it's not going to power it on. If it's too much, you could run into some issues there. I mean, but ultimately, there's not going to be a whole lot of power coming out of, you know, you can't power a microwave oven from PoE, right? It requires a lot more, you know, power than a PoE switch could provide. So most of all the components that are going to be accepting that power, they require very, very little. But at the same time, you have to be careful not to overpower them because you could wreak some electric havoc on the device itself.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a really good point to add. As you mentioned, the microwave oven, it brought me back to every year we used to have this huge camp out, right? And we'd bring in like a generator and run away. It's amazing whenever you're trying to heat something up, how much energy and electric you really need, how much power. But no, that's a good point because what really at the end of the day we would recommend is let's have a conversation, right? Whatever the customer's requirements are, bring it to us and connect us. We'll have that discussion. We can solve that problem probably 99 times out of 100. But there are intricacies to it that we have to look into. We have to understand exactly what the requirements are and how we're going to be able to fulfill that customer's need. But there's a ton of opportunities and a ton of just accessories and solutions out there that will help us and help the customer. So bring it to us. Let us talk to the customer. Let us understand what is going on with it, so we can solve that problem. So let's shift a little bit to tech for the week. We haven't done much tech lately.
No, I know you got something pretty good out there.
I do. So we were fortunate enough, shout out to InHand, because InHand's awesome, and one of our fantastic partners, InHand Networks. We've talked a little bit about their routers and their devices. So they have a brand new product coming to market. It's on their website. It's really cool. It fits this super awesome, I hate to call it a niche because it's so huge for a demand, but this smaller battery backup internet solution. So I have the InHand CR202, and this little dude is really small. We can see kind of the size there, right? These are both Wi-Fi antennas, and it has a power button here, right? DC in is USB-C, and then 2 Ethernet ports. And so there's what this looks like. It's a little small Cat6 router with battery backup, like I had mentioned, which is pretty awesome. And it has an embedded SIM in it, and it can take a physical SIM. So you can actually do 2 SIM. It has a WAN and LAN on the first port there, LAN 2 on the second port, so it can still take a primary internet service into it. So think of a home user like, okay, I'm here in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. I'm in Comcast world, Comcast territory. That's what really rules the roost in Lebanon County. And so I have primary internet that I'm talking to you and streaming to you live on with Comcast. But with this device, what I could do is I could bring Comcast into there and still have my active SIM card through a wireless carrier, Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, and have that ability that if for some reason Comcast goes down, it will flip right over and use that cellular internet service. So that can be all in one device, and that guy is really small, but with the battery, it's portable, so I can take it with me if I am traveling somewhere, so not just a home user. It's got a lot of flexibility. We probably overuse the word Swiss Army knife, but I really like to say Swiss Army knife because, Swiss Army knives have a lot of functionality to them, and that's what this has.
Versatile.
Yeah.
And it comes to market in June?
I believe, yes, May or June. I believe it's going to be here. So it's gone through Verizon certification. It is on the Verizon Open Development Showcase site. So good news there already as far as certification and what it can be done, what can be used on network-wise. I can't speak to the other carriers because I just don't know yet. More to come there. But, yeah, pretty awesome little device. And thank you for stopping by and listening to us talk about power. I've got the power. What's the power?
And Scooby-Doo and He-Man, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Scooby-Doo and He-Man too. Little Kermit the Frog. So stay awesome. Keep tuning in. Check out what we're doing in the social media, whether it's LinkedIn, YouTube videos. Brian's doing unboxing videos. So there's more to come on that as well as we get more devices. If you have any questions, you have any customers that have any situations, bring them to us. We're here to help. So everyone, have an amazing day.
Yes, make it an amazing day.
Make it an amazing day.
Yep.